Hello there, survivors, and welcome back to another video, or stream actually, in ARK Survival Ascender. We're back on Ragnarok for this one, and a cave that might be familiar if you've been following along with some of the recent videos, because this is the location that we actually built on my Jurassic event server that we had for quite a while. We built a really cool bunker in this cave, and I loved it so much that I kind of want to have that bunker along for the ride. So I will be building another bunker here, and I've been debating on how to do this, whether to just build it for myself in survival when I'm just playing on the cluster and just hanging out and not make any videos about it. But then I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I probably should record it in some way. So I figured I am gonna be streaming it. I was debating whether to do it in survival or creative. I would have done it in survival, but I think it's just going to take a long time if I also do it on stream, because stream building is a little bit slower than regular building, and that combined with survival would take me a long time, not because of the collecting resources, that wouldn't really be the issue, but more so just everything of crafting and, you know, everything around it. So we're gonna do it in creative here, but hopefully we can make a very, very awesome bunker base here. But it's also my birthday, as you saw from the title, so thank you all very much for the birthday wishes, and hello everyone, welcome in. So yeah, this is on Ragnarok. It's quite a cool cave. It's got these waterfalls flowing down it. It's actually a really nice location because it also has, well, this whole water pen basically at the bottom, which is also one of the reasons why this is such a good location. It's in the beautiful Green Ob Valley, which is quite a nice area in general on the map. So yeah, all good reasons to go and build here for sure. And that's why we will be building here and hopefully get a pretty cool base build. that's the plan. I have done a little bit of planning of like lining out some structures, but not really started building anything yet. So that's what we will focus on today. We will start building, and we will start hopefully making something really, really cool. So yeah, this is, oh, why am I stuck in place? So yeah, this is the cave. So it's rather big. This is going to be one of the main hallways here. Then you have a bunch more space on the inside. I've got a bunch of creatures already here, just so that if we need some creatures for like size references, we got everything from a rhino to a little dragon, the Deinonychus, the bison, Quetzal, because vote Quetzal, guys, vote Quetzal in the extra live TLC vote. We got Ice Wyvern, we've got a Giga and a Karcher, so that we have well, a pretty decent size range here. And then we have another thing lined out here, but we're gonna actually start up at the top here, because I think this is the first part that I would love to build and would love to, well, you know, be done. Hello there, you built the Elven Treehouse. Yeah, I like that one a lot as well. It's pretty nice. So I'm glad you like it, and hope it works well for you. A colossal ancient Zelda dragon. It could definitely fit right now. Probably not so much once I'm done building, unfortunately for you. But anyway, let's get this started. So just to show you what I've done, basically all I've done is place down this foundation on this height here. And that allowed me to do, like, at half height, snap another foundation to it. So if you don't understand what I've done, basically what I've done is place down the first foundation where I wanted it, and then half a foundation down, snap the other foundation to it. That will make sense in a little bit. That's what I've done here. And then I've basically lined that entire thing up, just continuing that through. Actually, well, you can see it kind of goes into the rock here. So I first didn't have it right at the edge there. I started by placing this foundation down, kind of lining it up with all these rocks at the side, but then I decided to push it back by one more just because I think that's going to give me a little bit nicer walk-through space in this hallway. So we've got that whole line already done here, which is going to be kind of the guideline for the rest of the build. Then over here in the middle, we have those lowered foundations. So again, if you place down a foundation that's high enough, you should be able to get a second snap point that's like half of the height. Only works, of course, in certain terrain. So it might not work everywhere for you, but if you want to try it, in this cave in particular, this is where this cave is located on the map. So yeah, you could, of course, give it a go and try to follow along and build along. But yeah, you kind of want to line it up with these rocks and then move it one inwards. And yeah, then we have that line of foundations. We then have 5 foundations lower down before we go half up again for the other side. So basically this side should be exactly the same height and lined up with the other side of the building. And if we follow this line all the way through, we should get about here. I'll explain the exact distance. I think that's going to be the length. I placed down some other foundations to prevent things from growing back. But yeah, so basically what I've done is, if we count this as 1, I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 in the middle, and then 1 here and 1 there. And then we have another gap of 4. And then after that, we can have another thing here. Another gap of 4. And basically another gap of 4. So we have 4 of these gaps of 4 with each a foundation in between those. Lengthwise, that's the length of what I've got going on here. And then for the entrance, we could have the entrance right there. I think that's what we kind of had on the event. I'm actually going to bring it slightly outward, as you can see. Basically what we've done is, or what I've done is, instead of going from this corner, we're going in by 1. And then we'll have some triangles coming out. And we want this to be counting only these sides. So now we have 5. We want to have 9 in total, I'm pretty sure. 9. So that's about 9. And then, well, this can go back into the landscape again. I don't think we'll be able to place anything like that. Let's see, is that actually what we want? Is that actually lined up? I think so. We should be able to bring this across and it should line up, I guess. That's the easier test. So yeah, actually we don't want this one here anymore. We want it from that one. That should be... that's far enough. So that's about how far we're gonna bring it outward. We can actually make this too wide, I think. And that's what we're gonna have as like kind of supports coming out. And then we'll have the same thing over here as well. Again, most of this, of course, is going into the rocks, which is totally fine. But we do want a little bit of visible bunker sticking out at the front. And it's still going to be under this little ledge, so we can still connect it into that. But yeah, just want it to be visible that there's a base in here, so people will, you know, will know there's something here. When will the medieval castle build tutorial go out? I'm still working on that. It's quite a big build, as you'll understand, and doing tutorials is quite tricky. Building, talking, and trying to make it easy to follow. And for the castle, I'm trying to do it in a more survival friendly way, as in, instead of just building the whole thing in one go, whatever makes sense for me in creative, I'm trying to build it with the thought of how could you do this in survival if you can't build it all in one sitting. So, you know, start with this part of the build, so you could use this as a temporary base, then you can add this, then you can add that. So yeah, it's taking a little longer, but I am working on it, and it will come out soon-ish. I'm trying to get a few videos done, because next month I'll be gone for a few days, have a little holiday. So I want to get a few videos done for that time when I'm away. But you know, there's a lot of cool things and a lot of cool builds to work on. So yeah, we have this little entrance here. Let me actually also grab the bunker skin because for a lot of this, I will be using the bunker structure cosmetics. I've already got some of those ready over here, as you can see. We're gonna skin these, and then we probably want to instantly change those so that we have the right look. So yeah, that's how far these parts are going to stick out, and hopefully we can make something nice out of that. We do have this little corner. I don't think there's much we can do with that, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out. So there we go. This would be the two like front facing entrances, I suppose, or supports around the entrance. We'll change these to the bunker skins. There we go. There we go. There we go. Happy birthday. Thank you very much. Remember being a bit further in. Yeah, I'm not going to build it exactly as we did on the event. It's going to be similar in style, but it's just going to be like redesigned slightly. Just, you know, just a little. What the entrance will look and feel like. So we can have some large walls there. And there we go. We can have those in there. I think that's pretty much shape-wise the entrance. And then of course, once we change the look of these, it's gonna look quite different. I think it's gonna look quite nice, to be honest. Kind of think that we might have to switch those around. So the one block, the one wall at the bottom, and then the other one at the above that. I think that will make for a nice transition there. There we go. So yeah, that would be kind of the entrance shape to the hallway that we'll have. I think that could be quite nice. And then obviously there's a choice that needs to be made here, whether this is going to be a layer that we want to have part of the bunker on, or do I want to make still a little bit of a double layer there. That all remains to be seen. Because yeah, you would kind of want something here to make it a little bit more 3D basically, because otherwise it's quite flat. Hey everyone, template hammer still needs fixing. Yeah, template has a bunch of errors in general right now. Like, they're pretty broken since the last update, so many things go wrong with templates at the moment. Yeah, bunker is definitely one of my favorites too. It's really, really nice. I think we're gonna raise this up by 1 on both sides. I think that would be quite nice. Ooh, we've got some wrecks. Oh, we have a squirrel in the house. Thank you so much, squirrel, and thank you for the gifted memberships. Hello, hello. Oh, now I'm gonna have a bunch of Rexes. Still, I don't know why it still sometimes spooks me to hear a Rex when I'm playing ARK, even though I'm building in creative. Not much threatening about Rex, but it's still funny to hear. But yeah, thank you so much, Squall. And yeah, enjoy all those memberships, guys. I think that is... pretty sure that's giving you access to like early access to video, I think. I forget how YouTube works sometimes. I'm very good at this. Hello, hello. Welcome in, welcome in. So yeah, we're gonna try and kind of making this go inward a little bit, bunker-wise. But because it's on an angle, we also need to build that on an angle, which I think will be fine. Maybe 3 is good enough. Let's see how that would look over here. There we go. Yeah, I think I quite like that, like as a shape, because it kind of brings it in to that landscape. Feels like some supports holding back the bunker. I like skinning it like halfway through so that we can really clearly see what it will feel like. Yeah, because we can't do it at a less steep angle, because obviously we don't have triangle ramps yet. Please, ARK, give me that for my birthday. Or a little bit later. I'll accept that too. There we go. Something like that would then be the side of it, of course. That is quite nice, I think. We'll do something similar on this side then as well. Trying to fill in those sides. Gonna have to work a little bit with the landscape, of course, like how far do we go? I think that's about how far we can go, which is fine. Why is there a glitchy wall there? Oh, there's 2 walls in 1 wall. That's special. So we'll build this up too. There we go. And that's a full wall. Yeah, so that's already kind of shaping the whole entrance towards the actual hallway. Now, I'm not sure if we want to have any additional details along this hallway, or we're just gonna kind of keep it going as is. Like, we could just have that be a thing. There we go. A little bit of rock coming through, but I think that's fine. I mean, I think that's already starting to look like a nice entrance. I'm not going to use a gate in here. Of course, you could probably add a gate if you wanted to. I'm going to keep it open. I'm probably going to have some turrets eventually to keep it safe. But in general, the cave is pretty safe, and especially once we're built. But there shouldn't be anything spawning inside of the cave. Of course, this is ARK, and we all know that just because it shouldn't happen doesn't mean it won't ever happen. But yeah, it should technically be safe. There we go. We'll add these in here too. Yeah, so again, it's kind of just the supports leading to the entrance. I kind of think we might add something in front of here, but it kind of also depends on what we're gonna do with the actual entrance. So for now, let's work on finishing these two lines leading into the whole build, and we'll take it from there. Bring this line across, too wide. Not everything, of course, will be able to be placed because there's a mountainside in a way, which is totally fine. There we go. So in general, that would be the entrance. Hello there, Al. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There we go. Let's see. We're probably, even though this side not gonna really be visible for most or anyone, but we definitely should fill it in because we'll know that there is a gap here otherwise. There we go. I think that's all fitting within. Wait, why can't I? Oh, I was gonna say, why can't I place that? But I can. Oh well, these walls are. Oh, why did I place the big walls there? That's pretty stupid. Wait, did I do all of these walls? Oh, I placed this instead of slope walls. Oh yeah, this might be... Some of these places might not like getting a sloped wall here. We could always place like a little bit of JVH rocks there to cover up, if it's not allowing us for some reason. There we go. That already feels like a pretty cool entrance. And then, yeah, again, it's kind of going to be the question whether or not we'll have something visible above this or not. Like a window could be cool, because we're probably going to have some, like, I think probably the crafting will still go there. That's what we had, at least on the event, but we'll see. All right, so we'll have... So this is the first wall we have. And then we want a gap of 4 before we have the next wall. There we go. And then we want to have another gap of 4 for another wall. Another gap of 4. And then another gap of 4 should run us to the end of this section. And then it's time to kind of work on some Dino docking bays here on the side. Which, yeah, I think parking docks is what I wrote down. So, yeah, we'll have some of these supports. And these supports are going to be quite iconic for this hallway, I think. As in, they're going to be the main form of kind of structure that gives the shape and character to this whole place. And there we go. Okay, we'll fill in all these walls first. So these are all the parts that slightly stick out above the walkway, of course. And of course we have the landscape at the back here, which I think we're going to embrace. So we're going to just build as far back into this as we can. And then just kind of figure it out from there. So this in total is 5 high. So I think what we'll do is for each of these, we'll have these kind of like divider walls. And then above that, we'll have like large walls. Okay, we can get rid of the sign. We can place down foundations as far as they go. And then we can bring back these walls as far as they will let me. There we go. And this already should give us a pretty decent amount of like parking spots for dinos, which was really useful on the event when we lived here with quite a few people. But even with, if it's just me here, it's gonna be kind of nice being able to have some dinos parked or displayed here. And who knows, maybe I'll be kind and let my tribe members move in. There we go. We're getting somewhere. So we definitely want to have this divider wall here as well. Which kind of means that this needs to have one more segment before it is finally far enough back to this wall. Congrats on the 40k. Yeah, thank you very much. 100k next. Oof, yeah, that's, to be honest, I never really expected to get that far. It would be really cool because then you get a button, of course, the YouTube play button, which is always amazing. So that would be really cool. But we'll see how far we can get. We'll see how far we can get. And fans, yeah, we fans, we definitely need some fans in here. We definitely will. Because on these ones we could actually also have fans quite easily. All right, let's change some of these walls and some of those foundations. Of course, we're probably gonna want to change those because can you see? Well, we're not really gonna notice, I suppose. It's not really visible, is it? It's not really. But for now, we'll just change all this to the bunker, because that will kind of give us the feeling for these dino parking docks, which is kind of the first part that I want to have looking good before we finish up the entrance. Because, well, depending on how high we need this, I don't think we'll go much higher than this, but like if there's any structural or structural changes that we need to make these look good, it's easier to not have any of the things around or above it done yet. So this is the first thing we want to make look nice and make in whatever practical way or impractical way we want. And then we'll take it from there and start kind of shaping up the rest of this entrance hall. But yeah, this already kind of gives me the feel back what we had on the event, which I really love this hallway, and especially once it was like lived in and used, and yeah, we just had a lot of good memories over here. So we'll change those, even though probably we won't ever be able to see the difference. We'll know it's all in the right skins. Okay, so now the big question is, of course, because we'll have the So we definitely want to fill those in. There we go. But yeah, this is hopefully going to be a really cool base. I've been really wanting to build this for quite a while, and we're finally getting this started. Now, I don't really know how far we'll be able to get today. We'll try to get pretty far. But again, it's a pretty big cave. And even though we did build here once, it's not going to be the exact same base. So it's still going to take us some time to figure things out. But yeah, I think this as a hallway already looks quite nice to me. Starting to get the vibes that we want. Hello there, welcome in. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so basically, I guess I could do a full wall. If, again, unofficial, you probably need to have quarter walls here, but saving on some structures this way. Just using this, I guess. There we do need some quarter walls to fill in those sides. And we kind of can have just a little bit of these. I think we made planters out of those in the survival base. Could even have artifacts on there, possibly. Something like that. There's a few things you could do there. Like probably we'd want to have a little bit of a beam going around it, and then some half beams going around the sides again, just to kind of fortify those all the way along. There we go. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have some grass on the top of that. Do I want these stairs on here? Maybe I'll use the other stairs, but for now I guess we can change the looks. We do want to have the bunker, because the middle floor, like this pathway, is not going to be the same kind of concrete bunker skin, because we do want to change it up a little bit. And I think these are going to be the cozy cabins grass to bring in that little bit of greenery, because I do want this to be a very nice place, even though we're using this very industrial bunker looking skin. I still want it to look like a nice place as well. So we're going to try and make a really cool bunker, but we're also going to try and bring the coziness in. So yeah, that's starting to look quite nice. So I think then the next step is obviously just to fill in foundations for each of these docking bays, these parking docks. I can't get a foundation there. Can I still get like a... Nope, cannot do it, which is fine. Obviously we're gonna change the variance on these, and some of these again will have a little bit more of these rocks in there. I think on the event we had a back wall to them. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna embrace the cave in here, so I'm gonna have the back just be open, because I kind of like seeing the cave every now and then, and it will save me some structures, which is always nice. Also, another reason that I want this base to be done, I've recently learned or tested the way of sharing templates with console players, which is possible, but you have to do it physically in game. Like, I need to give you the item and you need to eat it, which is a little bit annoying, a little bit tricky, but I am thinking of setting up a place where you could come and grab the templates if you're on console. And I'm not sure if that would be at a community center or at my base. I'm not sure. The only downside, of course, would be you'd have to download all the mods that we have. But, you know, it's better than not being able to get templates at all, I suppose. But, again, nothing's certain yet, because I still need to do a bit more testing on that. But can't hurt to have a nice setup where I would have the space to host like a vault of templates. There we go. Okay, we're gonna change all this to the proper concrete bunker skins to get these docking bays, these parking bays in order. There we go. Oh yeah, we got some Aberration OST. Always a banger. There we go. So I think once we start filling in these walls, we'll actually be quite decently along with these docking bays, to be honest. And especially if we're of course going to have something above this, which most likely we will. So yeah, maybe let's work on this first one here. There we go. Let's just fill in this wall all the way into the cave wall. There we go. Come on. Give me the right snaps. There we go. We do have some more space over here because I didn't fill in the first part here yet. But now if we change all of those skins, and we can actually fill in the back of those as well, we should be getting a little bit further along with this first bay. And then potentially, of course, there might be a roof above this because there might be another layer here. But that's kind of the similar docking bay that we had on the event. Something like this, at least. Hello there. Thank you very much, Blame It. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome in. But yeah, I do think we want to shape up these sides as well. So potentially, I think we'd want to have a bit of support inside too. I don't know if this is the right place for that. Because we kind of want to make these less blocky, basically. And perhaps this is the way. Maybe just like this. Yeah, that could be quite nice. That could work. Just to give a little bit more shape to this entire room. Thank you very much, AMP. Welcome in. So yeah, I think that works, because if we have a roof, we could have a tech light in there as well to bring in a little bit of light. Would we want... After how many of these would we want another one? Like maybe after 2? Or after 3? Maybe after 3, because then probably not in every one of these we'll get another one. But in a few, we could have, if that, just that extra little bit of detail. And even in this one, we kind of only need to make the one side because, yeah, there's no way to see the back of these. There we go. Yeah, that gives a little bit more shape to this entire room, I think. And then, yeah, we'll have that for all of these. These parking bays are going to be all like that. And then potentially we could even have like the vents in here. Kind of like that. Maybe. You know, for the airflow in here. For the airflow for my dinosaurs. needs to be good. I don't pick the structures up, I delete them, which you can only do in creative mode, which is G on keyboard. So it's not picking them up, it just deletes them. But if you're building in creative, deleting is kind of the same as picking up, because you don't really care about actually picking up structures. So yeah, I think that makes sense. I could have them here as well, potentially. It does add in a little bit of movement, I suppose, as well. That's quite nice. There we go. Some nice airflow for my dinosaurs. Yeah, then once we have the roof over it, here in this middle section, we could then have the tech light shining down as well, to get a little bit of extra light in. Because of course, during the day, well, it's pretty cloudy right now, but during the day there will be some sunlight streaming in, but yeah, not all the time. So we definitely want to have some tech lights around to bring in some extra light now and then. All right, let's start with filling in these walls for these dividers. I guess I can just kind of do that for all of these at the same time. Probably gonna be faster that way. And yeah, with the bunker skin is actually the first time that I've been building more with these large walls, and that's mostly down to the fact that they actually have some amazing cool textures for the large walls in the bunker cosmetics, which are very different than normal walls. So yeah, it just makes it a lot nicer to play around with. I'm not sure if that's placed the same way, but you know, we'll see. You can't really tell anyway. There we go. Yeah, so for a lot of this already, it feels like it's gonna be quite tricky to say if there's gonna be enough space above for actual living quarters, but we'll find that out. We'll find it out. Building a medieval town inspired by yours, but on decor I kind of find the haystacks. The haystacks and logs are all from the Western deco mod. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, so we're getting somewhere. We're getting these Dino parking bays in shape, which already helps dedicate or dictate quite a lot for this first hallway of the bunker. But as you can see, it also already kind of gives a really nice bunker vibe to this hallway, which is exactly what we're looking for. There we go. And then we'll just go around skinning these walls. Get all of them looking nice. There we go. Quite nice. All right, so now we probably want to also add in these, right? That's where I placed them. I think that's exactly where I did. Yeah. So, and then we have 3 before the next one. So there's just barely one more in there. And then I guess we might as well keep doing that for all of these. So the 3 before we add one more. There we go. So we will have all of them in here. I don't think you can see the back for those, so we don't need the slope walls there. For these ones, we most certainly will want both of the slope walls. For this one, I probably will do both sides because you could technically, yeah, you could kind of get there if you really wanted to. So we're not leaving those gaps in that case. But for the rest of these, they're all kind of back into the cave walls, which is totally fine. Makes it a little bit easier for us. There we go. Yeah, getting those shapes in gives a little bit more shapes to these the docking base compared to what we originally had on the event. Again, this would have been way more annoying also to set up in survival early on, but I think it will add just a little extra shape to all these different dino docks that we'll make. There we go. It gives it a little bit of a nicer feel. And then we'll change all these, of course, to the bunker skins. There we go. And we'll definitely be adding the vents because I kind of like that idea that we have those vents running through from one to the other. Oh, don't forget those sides. Don't forget to skin them. There we go. Just like that. What spot are you building at? We're on Ragnarok, near the Green Alp. At the end of the valley, you've got the waterfalls. And that's where we're currently building and working on. It is a little bit rainy. Let's see if we can get some sun in here. Well, it is more sunny, but there's not really sun shining towards my cave yet. But yeah, so it's in the Green Alp Valley. It's around here. Let's see. We kind of have these dino docking bays. I probably won't change all these because it's quite a lot of variants. I will do that, but not now. Not waste the time on it now, basically. Should we do the main street floor? Maybe we should get a little better feeling for what that's gonna look like in the end. So we're gonna use this one. So that's also from the bunker structure cosmetic, but it's this one that will make it look slightly different, and it will retain a lot of the cave feeling, which I quite like about this. So we'll just add that for this entire, like, basically the street going into my bunker. And the reason we do have the actual foundations there in the middle is so that we still have support above it, so that if we do build some kind of rooms or bunker structure above this, we will be able to actually span across the entire width of the cave. There we go. Oh yeah, this feels familiar. This does feel familiar. There we go. Very, very nice. And I think these stairs actually, I probably would like them to be this texture too. Do I? No, I don't think I want that actually. I think I kind of like them as the bunker after all. Yeah, no, I feel like that works. I feel like that definitely works. So yeah, these basically should give you a bunch of space for different creatures to be parked at. And since there's just a cave wall behind it, you can actually kind of stick the tails through that. because pretty sure that even the Giga or the Karcher would fit there. But I mean, definitely these smaller creatures, that's going to be easy peasy. I'm going to probably be too heavy for all of these, yeah. Probably not going to be able to move on any of these. Could move the bee. But that's not really the flying parking. Although he could be attached to one of those walls. You could probably park all of these. Or can I? Oh, I'm not too heavy on the Giga. It's not really meant for the Giga and the Karcher at the front there. But oh god, this wyvern tail is doing me in. It's not necessarily designed for... Oh god, no, I can't move the wyvern. Okay, well, we'll have to go the other way around. But I'm pretty sure we would be able to fit them there if you'd wanted to. But we'll have a dedicated area for them because I do want them to be able to breed. Although they are quite tall, so if we have... Yeah, if we would have the ceilings above us, it would be on the foundations. It's gonna be, yeah, you gotta be through the ceiling, so they would fit, but just barely, and they're gonna poke their heads through. So that's why we'll have a special section for the Gigas and Karchers at the back. Like that's this section is gonna be Gigas and Karchers, but at least I guess you could still walk through. You might just poke your head through the ceilings. Anyway, there we go. We have a little bit of light coming in, flowing through this hallway, which is quite nice. Gives us 4 docking bays, Dino docking bays here to use for all different creatures. And then the other side is meant to have some spots for flyers, but because of the landscaping is, well, a little bit higher here, my idea was to basically make them like a little higher. Parked right next to your hopes and dreams. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so yeah, I wanted this cave, so this is where my hopes and dreams are. And my dreams are becoming a reality slowly but surely. Okay, so realistically, I think what I want to do is kind of mirror at least the support beams that we have going on, because I think that would be quite nice. We kind of had that on the event, but not completely. Is this gonna demolish? Yeah, okay, I guess there's not actually a foundation down there, which I guess we can solve that by doing this. Because now it's going to be connected in a different way and it shouldn't delete itself after this, hopefully. Like if I remove that, that should stay now. There we go. So yeah, I think these sports are basically going to stay the same. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Because then, yeah, you'll have a proper like little hallway. And then the flyer parking is going to be probably around that height, I'd say. time. There we go. Yeah, so we'll have these in, like, look at that shape already. The whole hallway kind of forms to this shape, which is quite cool. Which probably means that right about now is when we want to start placing down these skins again. And we'll start with the support walls here, the dividing walls. I don't actually know if we're gonna need all the dividing walls, but we'll see. We'll see. There we go. Yeah, the hallway is going to be really nice to walk through. I'm hoping, or no, my goal is to at least finish this hallway completely today. Because, yeah, this hallway, yeah, we need that done. We need that done today. I need that very badly in my life. Oh yeah, so that we should all be able to line up. And should be able to get skinned as well. There we go. The same dirty skin all the way through. Which means we can also do it here. Along the inside. And that means we have that first kind of wall completed, at least, well, at the front. There we go. And now it's where we can figure out the rest of the design, kind of. Oh, we actually still need to add in the skins for the foundations in here. Kind of forgot those. Guess we won't see them for all of these. And again, we probably won't know that these are not looking the right way, but we're gonna change them anyway. Okay, so for the flyer platforms, I think realistically, I mean, I would design it here, but there's mostly rock there, so I feel like that's not a good one. So over here is the first kind of layer where you might want that. I mean, it's not big, definitely, with the rocks behind it. But I kind of do feel that would be big enough. And then maybe we would have a layer like this. How will we do this? Technically, we could have a layer like that. We could then move this layer inward by a little bit. Oh no. Oh, I deleted that first one. That was all connected to that. Well, I promise I had a great idea here, which we will now reconstruct. So we'll have these. We'll have a layer of this, which will then also work into that pillar we'll have there. Where we can build this up again and bring that back up, and then we can repair the damages I've caused myself. Bring this dividing wall back in. There we go. And then on top of this is where we'll have the ramps coming into the flyer dock, basically. And if you're wondering am I gonna get in and out, well, by flying, obviously, or my Cosmo, or my jetpack, or tech suit, you know, stuff like that. This is an end game base, so I feel like we can do things like that. So yeah, that would just be the normal foundations. Then we would kind of have that look, and then up here, this is where your flyer would be parked. I think that could be really cool. Obviously it gives a little bit of a different aesthetic to both sides, but again, I think that's fine. I think that's probably something we need. Something to give it a little bit of a unique function on both sides. Hello there, Sarge. Thank you very much. Because yeah, if we skin all this, then we might be able to properly judge whether or not we like what we've got going on. There we go. That's one we need before I fill this all in. So yeah, copy. So we would have that. This platform would also still be concrete. We would have these, of course. There we go. So that's kind of the vibe we would have, because I mean the alternative is having this. Which I'm not sure if that really works that well. Or we would have to do it fully, but then yeah, you kind of see the insides, which isn't really preferable, I don't think. No, the spinning fans also are part of the walls. Yeah, you might be able to have quarter ceilings in here. No, it just sometimes ARK's got like slightly weird mesh where the mesh is different than what you see. But if you park a flyer here, it would have no problem, because like the tail or something could easily go into the wall. The only part I don't really like is how these now kind of go together. Like they're too connected, for my opinion. I don't know if we just want to kind of fix that in this way. Like possibly by doing something like that. Potentially. Or maybe we don't use the full wall. Okay, you better don't come crashing down again. Please. So maybe instead of that thing be connected like that, what we could do is bring this, bring this back in first. And then have the wall there, so that it's, yeah, it's not really connected to those pillars, which I feel like is what we need. We need them to be quite separate still. Okay, there we go. So that would be all filled in. And this would just be more normal supports. Yeah, I think I like that. Would I think I might want to have these the other way around, because I think I want to see those extra like steel supports here. Yeah, I think that's what we need, a little bit of that steel coming through here. And then if we have the next divider here, it should all start to work out nicely for us. I guess we don't have full foundation all the way to the back there, which we'll figure out. Guess that's because the landscape here is a little bit uneven into the walls of the cave. But yeah, I feel like that's a pretty nice spot. It's higher up, of course. But again, this is going to be a late game base, so I don't mind having to jump up a little bit. Well, Gonna be quite annoying parking this in there though, since they don't really walk backwards, do they? Oh, that's gonna be very annoying. Yeah, Quetzes might not be suited for this, so I need to kind of do... Yeah, but now... Nope. Well, the Quetz fits inside. It's just turning them around is gonna be the real nightmare. It's gonna be the real nightmare, but they do fit inside technically. Quetzes are just a bit weird. Like, why can't I just kind of scoot backwards when I'm walking? That would really help. Verdarian Rains? I don't think I've got a rain here. But yeah, I might have to try that. See if that works. So I'm not sure if I do need these supports. I feel like that might make these rooms a little bit too crowded if I do add those in. Maybe we will just have them like way at the back. So we have like 1, 2, 3, and then we have them here. I feel like that might be better off for these. So kind of just all the way at the back of these builds. Well, there is no wall there, but you can also not get there. Yeah, I kind of do hope that the Quetz gets a TLC. I'd really love to see that. Okay, so we're gonna move some of these foundations back. We're gonna try to add the lower foundations in wherever we can. And then we can work on the rest of these. I guess at the front there's no need to do that because there's a rock there anyway. There we go. So yeah, we want to have full walls going across here. There we go. Then we want to have the roofs coming up. And well, for this one it's going to be slightly different, isn't it? Because there's the rocks in the way, but we're going to try and still get a similar effect. So we'll have the ramps going across. We'll do that for these as well. There we go. And we'll have... Oh no, we didn't want to flip these roofs. We just want to have them normal like that. All the way across from one side to the other. Thank you very much, Mr. Hal. There we go. That's starting to look quite nice, I think. So let's add in the floors for all these flyer parking bays. Yeah, so in some spaces these are not going to have foundation support, but again, quite easy to fix because we can't really see what's going on underneath anyway, so we can add in the ceilings wherever we need them. And then we can just kind of make a few of these parking docks so that we can also have 4 flyer spaces. I think I'm gonna make a separate Ryanetha wall because Rhinos you really just want to park ledge to a wall, because then they don't start flying on restarts. So I think that's what we'll have to build that in somewhere so that yeah, we can have a dedicated Rhino parking spot. Okay, well, this is interesting for sure. So I guess we need a little bit of foundation support somewhere here, but maybe if I do that, this will already be possible again. There we go. We'll do, oops. We'll do the supporting walls first, creating all these dividers between the different flyer parking spots. There we go. Okay, we have this one already. And we have the one at the start. Then I guess it's time to bring out the variant tool. And kind of start skinning up a lot of this. Now, I probably will add the fans in there as well. Oh, why am I stuck? Why am I stuck, ARK? Please, let me go. There we go. I think that works quite in nicely with the rock that was here. We kind of try to go with the cave as much as possible. Of course, we're trying to build our own like structured bunker in here, as you can see, but we don't mind a few of these rocks coming through. I feel like that adds character to a bunker cave like this. It is getting quite foggy in here, which makes it a lot darker on the inside. So let's see if we can have a little bit more light. It's not going to do much, but at least it helps a little bit. There we go. All of the walls. Awesome. And then we can work in the last bay here. Now we will have to do those little supports at the ends, of course. There we go, but that's a few decent spots here to park a flyer at. Oh, we have this wall still at the end of the line for now, at least. We'll definitely be building more, but you know, part by part. So we have 3 of the large walls, and then we have the support. So 1, 2, 3. Then we have the supports over here. So we'll do the same thing. Okay. So this is the only one where they're not all the way at the back. I suppose that there's a little bit more room in the cave the further we go in, which I guess makes sense. But we'll add them everywhere no matter what. Could you get behind here? You probably can. Oh no. So I guess we'll fill in these backs just to be sure. Oh, I can't actually film that side. I guess it is still obstructed. There we go. We'll have those little supports to make these all a little less flat on the inside. And then, yeah, we would have the fans here when we change the variants. Again, I'm not going to do that for all of them just because the fan, it's like one of the last variants, takes quite a while to scroll through. And I think it's more exciting to continue building on the stream. And we've already showcased the fans on the first of these that we build. There we go. So the way I see this build working, I will do pretty much all of the structural building on streams. Probably streams, because let's be honest, very unlikely that we'll finish the whole thing today. and then I'll do the detailing and bringing it to life. I'll do that on my own time, because I'll probably do that in survival as well. And then we'll have a final showcase, but you'll have all the streams to watch if you want to follow along, if you want to build this in this specific spot. But you could, of course, learn a lot about the principles and the design language here and apply that to your own builds. I do really like the hallway already now. Now that we got all these different segments going, I do quite like the way that this hallway starts to look. And I think that probably means that we should lay down the ceiling layer here, because then we can figure out what the whole storage thing is going to be. How do you get the sign? You mean this sign with my custom logo? It's from the Scribbles mods. It's just a normal sign basically that you can place down, but Scribbles signs has a lot more options. So basically the normal signs, when you have Scribbles installed, you have more options. And then I could, for example, pick out like a little wall, place the sign like normal. You have a lot more text options if you wanted to write things, but you can also add an image URL. Then you upload your own image somewhere on the internet, copy that URL, place it on the sign, and you can hide the signs. So you can have cool custom signs in game. You do need that mod installed, of course, to use that. But that's how I have this sign, and a lot of the build tools you'll see on my servers, when there's custom signs involved, it's usually always from Scribbles, which is really nice because that allows people to really like personalize their bases quite easily without having to like make a custom cosmetic or something. There we go. So yeah, we'll wanna basically add the whole layer of ceilings along the top now, and then we can kind of judge how much space there is still above this, because here on the event server we had the storage and stuff all up here, crafting and storage. I do think that is likely to be the case for my base as well, but we'll see. We'll kind of see how far we'll get. How much room? I think, for judging from the room, it does seem to be quite enough space. And some of these spaces need foundation support, I suppose. Oh yeah, Sandy has a graffiti mod, doesn't he? Yeah. To be honest, I think I still want to change my actual logo on YouTube before I would do that, because I've been running around as a shark for so long. I feel like I need a shark avatar as well. The shark has become me. So, kind of feel like I should take care of that first before I get it permanently changed. And this is more the logo of my community server, that one. Well, technically it was the logo for the Jurassic Park event we did, but now it's also kind of just a logo for the cluster in general. Yeah, it needs the shark in there, so either I need to be more like a shark, or yeah, it's just a shark needs to be involved. I'll have to brainstorm and get that made at some point, I suppose. There we go. We have quite a lot of room already if we build all of this into a base. This is exactly what I mean. Like, it will give us a decent amount of space, as you can see, but a lot of this is also, of course, shaped to the cave. And that will influence how much space we'll have left, of course. So we'll just kind of continue filling in the last bits of ceilings, because then we can also check underneath if we kind of like the shaping that we've done. I think we will. But you never know until you see it. Did I add a ceiling somewhere now? I feel like I did, but I can't really find it. Uh-oh. Did I get myself stuck in here? How did I fit in, but I can't get out? Oh, now I can. Felt like I placed an accidental ceiling, but I don't see any. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right, let's fill in these last layers of ceilings, and then we can kind of take a look. But that definitely takes care of the first part of the base, which is exciting. And it's definitely looking like intended. It's kind of enough similarities with the bunker we had before, but it is changed enough as well into a fresh design. Yeah, this hallway, this feels like a proper bunker to me in a cave. Where's this cave? It's on Ragnarok in the Greenup Valley. As you can see, Greenup is right there. And these are the exact coordinates. Give your avatar a shark hammer. Just everything shark. Everything shark. There we go. So yeah, we have the whole ceiling in place, which I think is nice. Now, do we like it going straight up, or do we want to have it slightly more curved? Because we could still add like these in, which might be nice ways to, well, yeah, make it all even more connected, I suppose. There we go. Fill in those sides. Oh, also, I think this is probably a good point in the stream to say I'm also doing some giveaways. Oh. Oh no. Let me fix this first, because apparently I can't talk and not misclick. There we go. So yeah, I'm doing some giveaways over on my Discord. So if you join my Discord in the announcement channels, there's a bunch of giveaways for some custom cosmetics, including the tribal skin pack for you and your tools, as well as the tribal saddle skins for your warrior tribal saddle skins, the utility tribal saddle skins, and a brand new giveaway as well for the new astral custom cosmetic. There's the new space looking cosmetics, which is quite a cool one. I've got my first build coming up pretty soon. So yeah, I have played around with them. I have. And Sandy's been kind enough to give me a few keys, so I will be giving them away. The first I might actually just add a little garden there anyway. I'm not sure, we'll see. Because it could definitely be nice adding in some greenery to fill in some of the gaps. Can't fill in that gap apparently. Fill it in there. Yeah, so basically these will be some planters where we can have a little bit of grass, probably like a little plant. We'll have some cool signs, part of the bunker skins on the walls. And that's how we're gonna bring the whole place to life. Because again, it's gonna be a bunker, but I do also kind of want to give it as much of the cozy vibes as we can possibly get away with, which is probably going to be a little bit of a challenge, let's be honest, because there's a lot of concrete in here. But I do really feel like we can still make an effort of trying to make it feel cozy. All right, so let's change the right skins to the bunker ones. There we go. All right, so now this full hallway, oops, that's a little too far, that's a waterfall. The full hallway should now be symmetrical. Should have all the planters, which will add a bunch of life to the place. Then we'll probably have like tech lights here to kind of shine down and give a little bit of extra light. We have plenty of space for our creatures to park along the side, some flyers along the other side. Really kind of like how this is all coming together so far. This feels quite nice. And if you really wanted to, I suppose you could have like... It's not going to be centered probably. Oh, it doesn't really want to snap where I wanted. You could have hanger doors maybe for this, but you would have to create like a 3 wide snapping point in the middle. I don't think I will, because that will get a little bit too much. And again, I kind of like the open design. We'll have some turrets at the front to keep things safe. But yeah, other than that, I am quite liking the look of this so far. So, for the next layer, I do think that if we're going to build the next layer here, we do want to make sure that we add a little bit of depth to the whole situation. And the first step, I think, is to do something like this. To kind of just break up that front wall here. And I think... Oh, that's too far. I think that means we also want to have the beam going across the front here. Oh, and actually, we want to break these up then. Do I kind of start something over here? Which does mean we're starting it on an angle, but that's totally fine. We can work with that. Just kind of... There we go. That's the pieces we need. And then we should be able to bring that up. So now we're kind of working on the rest of the wall basically here, which is going to be the wall for our main storage system. Which I suppose is going to continue here. guess we'll continue that just like that. So yeah, basically we start on an angle, but we end straight into the building. We'll have normal walls there. I guess we can just kind of have normal walls around that entire part. Technically, there is still room for something here. It's kind of weird that we can't fill in that gap. That's too bad. But yeah, we do have some kind of room for a window or something up there. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So yeah, we probably go for another layer wall here, and then we probably want some kind of window in the middle, right? Because any amount of light that we can get in there is probably going to be welcomed. And it's not going to be a lot of light, let's be honest, because most of this is going to be in the shade, as you can see. But a little bit is going to be nice. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to really look out the window anyway, unless I change the height of it. Maybe I do this. There we go. Thank you very much, T. Thank you very much, and happy birthday to your daughter too. There we go. Yeah, so we could have a decent window here. Might even be able to glimpse a few views of the outside here. But yeah, I think if we can have windows, we totally should try to have windows, right? Okay, so we could have some windows there. And then I feel like, oh no, why are things breaking? So yeah, I feel like what we'll do is we'll have that in the middle. So we'll have two windows basically, just to shape it up a bit more. I think that's going to look quite nice. And then, I mean, we're gonna still fill in these walls just with normal walls, but those will turn into windows when we start skinning it. And I think that's kind of what we want to go for. So all of these pillars and beams will change into these, kind of to create a little bit more contrast with the rest of the structure, because we got a lot of the concrete going on, of course. And we kind of want to break that up a little bit. I mean, I might even want to break up some of these parts. But might be better off over here though. I feel like that's slightly too high. Because we kind of need a little bit of air flowing into the base, right? So it would make sense to have those there. Hello, Well then, that's the. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah. I think we want those there because we do want to have those the air intakes basically here on the outside. Yeah, this is on Ragnarok. Yeah, in the Green Ob Valley. There we go. There we are. So yeah, that's going to be the entrance of this all. And I guess then we also want to fill in those so we can turn those into some proper windows. Get a little bit of light into the base, as little as we'll get. We want to kind of take whatever we can get here. We want to have all the light we can get, please. And then, I mean, there's so many variants in this pack that there's a lot of options to decorate just your walls with different looks. But yeah, I think that's quite nice. Let's in a little bit of light through those windows. So then when we would be up here, it's not much, but at least a little glimpse of the light can make its way on the inside. So yeah, we just kind of filled that wall. I feel like we probably just want to fill this wall as well, because there's not much we can really add to all that. There we go. So we've pretty much filled this all in. We can fill in the top. But yeah, as you can see, there's definitely a decent amount of space up there that we can utilize as a base. There we go. So yeah, this is the grand entrance right now with the two supports coming to the outside. Probably some good places for turrets right at the end there. I don't think I'm gonna add much here, like building wise. I feel like this is sufficient. And then this hallway, that feels really cool. And then, well, we have this little pocket, which is that's just there. That's just extra room. But yeah, this is quite cool. We have the flyer docks on the one side. We have the Dino parking docks here. The air vents to let in some fresh air into the cave. So, yeah. Almost finished a build combination of an old AC build of mine and a couple of your videos. Oh, cool. Oh, yeah. I also have a channel on my Discord where you can share builds if you want. Speaking of my Discord, if you join my Discord, I'm also doing some giveaways for some cosmetics right now. So if you want to get some of the tribal cosmetics, really cool saddles there, or the new astral cosmetic, which is also definitely really cool, you can find some giveaways going on from that. This is one of the tribal skins. And as you can see, they turn your saddles into something really, really quite cool for a bunch of different creatures. There's an ARK build screenshot channel. If you have the ARK role in the Discord, you should see it. And otherwise, at the top, you can click channels and roles and check if all the channels are open for you. Or I think Discord has an option of like showing all channels. Discord's weird sometimes with hiding channels that you should see. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of the entrance. We'll probably have logos maybe on those walls. Maybe not here because of the rock, but probably have that logo somewhere on there. Or maybe I'll get a new logo made for my base. Shark Industries feels quite appropriate to bring that back in life. But yeah, as an entrance, I think I'm quite happy with this. Obviously, we might add some like detailing around and making it a little bit overgrown and greenery around it, because it does feel very concrete. And we're going to have the signs, the lights, so that's going to definitely transform it. But structure-wise, I do quite like the way the entrance looks now. So then one of the next things we could do is the structure of the storage up here. But I think I kind of want to plan for that, like what I want where. But yeah, we're probably going to try and keep some kind of shape for the whole cave, kind of going with the cave and creating shapes like that. Probably creating some like different rooms and spaces that we can use, and then have the storage kind of central so that hopefully it covers most of this platform. So I think for now, instead of working on that right away, I kind of want to continue down the cave a little bit. So I'm going to clear out some of these foundations, because I already did a little bit of planning here, as you can see. There we go. So right over here, where you can see there's a lot more light in the cave, because there's like the snowy part and we've got the glowy crystals. This is where I want to kind of have this section end and the other section start. And right from the corner where we left off is basically where we want to go ahead and get a load of these triangles going. Now, I haven't really counted this out, but it should at least line up. Some of these foundations might not let me place them, which is, in my case, why I will use ASR. On vanilla, you could just, or like official, you could just, of course, use ceilings and pillars and walls and stuff. But just to save us some time, kind of want to keep this all going. Some of these should then be... yeah, it's really weird. The snap points of normal foundations, just sometimes you feel like they should still work, but they don't. There we go. We'll have to count if this is actually going to like line up with a nicely dividable amount of space. Are you still building Helm's Deep? Yes, I am. Well, not just me and my tribe are, but yeah, we are, and I will actually be recording an update on that this weekend, so that will be out sometime next week as well. So more on that pretty soon. So yeah, this is kind of how far I would like it to go, but of course we kind of need to see in what kind of spaces we can divide it up. And this section I actually want to turn into some kind of like park area as well, like a little bit of a garden. And I think I might want to try something we saw in a few different bases where people made some like really cool displays of like little scenes with a little bit of the JV8's plants and stuff, but then also dermises of certain creatures, maybe even from certain maps. We can kind of theme them after that, or whatever we really want, just create some different scenes. I kind of want to do something like that, because I would like a little bit of a garden area, and I think this last part is the best part before we actually go into the full snow area of cave again. But I feel like it could be beneficial to at least have these different sections. Just like that. So yeah, the path would continue like this. But it's going to be slightly different, right? Because there's not really going to be any... I don't think we'll build a top layer necessarily for a lot of these. We could have 2 layers on some of them. I don't know. But I also think that this is kind of where this layer will end, and we'll just have an entrance building here. And then more of the gardens over there. I feel like that is probably what I'll go for. So maybe we don't go all the way out here, but instead we can keep it a little bit further back. So I guess we can hopefully delete a bunch of these foundations. Maybe some of them are going to be a little bit tricky, but we could maybe pick them up with the gun. So if we take this line away, because this was kind of just to see how far we could go before we started, but this line is calculated with the design we could do. There we go. So for some reason we have that one. There we go. We can pick it up and fix it all. So yeah, here we would kind of want to go twice the height. I guess we're gonna need these ones for that again. There we go. So yeah, if we keep the same kind of walkway, that would be the other wall. But seeing that there's this cave here, I might not even bother building that, and I might embrace the cave on the other side. I think that's what we'll probably end up doing. So we'll just have the walkway going into the cave landscape. I think that makes more sense. And then we'll have those 4 sections over here on this side to utilize as some like internal gardens, I think. Which I guess means we can start building up these divider walls. Again, I don't really think we'll have a roof above it. I think we're just building these walls into the cave as kind of like supports. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So in total, this would be 5 high, but it's kind of different because we don't necessarily need it to be a certain height, so we can just kind of model it after this. Do I want that, or do I want this instead? This would actually make it properly the right length, so it probably is going to be like that, which means this is going to get 1 layer above it. Yeah, because there's going to be some kind of corner no matter what, right? Because even if I would have chosen to go for this angle, there would still be a corner in there, but then this space would be relatively small, and I think this way we'll keep some decently sized spaces. Let's see if we can build out the dividing kind of walls. This would be the dividing wall going back into that cave, or more the supporting walls in this case. And then again, each of these sections is going to be turned into some lovely gardens, which I'm quite excited about. Some like cool displays, some taxidermy and stuff like that. I think that could be really cool. Alright, so we'll bring these triangle walls all the way back in to the structure. There we go. Yeah, so basically along this side is where we would want these walls to go. And to be honest, one of these walls could quite easily be like the wall where we park our rhinos, right? Because this outside wall, for example, that would be a perfect spot for parking some rhinos at. Okay, so they don't need to be this high up here. And I guess now we just want to add in all of these wall segments again. There we go. Yeah, we can think out what kind of displays we would make, and we could display some of like our favorite creatures in dermises, create some little scenes. We've seen that in a few bases on my community, and I want to challenge myself at this base to also decorate it, not only for function but also just for vibes and looks, because this is going to be one of my main bases on the cluster, which means you can come and visit this, which is quite cool. We can hang out, we can have shark raves and everything. So yeah, lots of fun things, and I think some cool displays. I might theme it around maps, because that would be quite a nice way to kind of feature certain creatures. Maybe challenge myself to go and tame certain creatures in case I don't have them, or whether it's because I've never tamed them or I have forgotten to take care of the cryos and they are no longer in my possession. But yeah, that will give us a few different like garden display sections to utilize, I think. Hello there, welcome in, welcome in. So yeah, I think this would be a nice kind of section to add these lines, because we're gonna have the things dripping down, so I feel like even if we continue these upward, we probably want to create some kind of dividing segment for them. Oh, this is not supported. The problem is that I don't really want the pillar to be too visible. Might have to do without that one for now. There we go. We'll build these all the way along. Because again, with the bunker effect, it makes more sense to have something at the end of these large walls, because that's where the effect kind of dips down from. There we go. So yeah, now the big decision will be whether we keep it at these segments or we'll build them all the way up. I kind of feel like building them all the way up could be really cool, because it's not that much higher. Like realistically, that's almost there, and for most of that it's going to cover it. But then we also have this side. I think we'll probably do something quite similar to what we did above the entrance. So we'll probably have a line of this, and then whatever building is going to be here to allow us to get up here, as well as connecting into the middle section of this cave, which not quite planned out what I'm going to do here. I know what I'm going to do there for the entrance, which is going to be basically another bunker, which is going to allow for Gigankarchas. Did it RG really just fly into my cave? That's quite cool. Yeah, but for these gardens, I think that's going to work. And then I guess, the question is, do I still want this layer up in here? I probably actually want to push this layer back by one, so that we have a little bit more depth going on. Then we'll take out these. And then, I mean, we're probably going to have some kind of stairs, right? Coming from this. If we're filling in this entire walkway, which we might. So if I do have this wall go all the way up, what would that look like? That's quite a tall wall. Is that what we want for this? Yeah, because I think we can make something really cool of the gardens. I'm fairly certain all these little segments are going to be quite cool gardens if we try. Which does mean we'll have another layer of those. And I guess the final layers above this, just because here on the front at least is going to be quite tall, but some of those are not going to need that much. That's not the right height. Need to be this height to continue. There we go. We're already getting pretty close to the cave ceiling here, but not all the way for some reason. So we'll have to fill the last few in. Okay, so that giant wall, that will definitely be the Rhino wall. That can easily fit a few rhinos on it. And then the next ones shouldn't be as much of an issue. Because, well, the cave is slightly lower. Then, of course, here, once again, it is a little bit higher. But these other sections aren't. Which means we could have quite high gardens. Or again, we could have multiple layers if we really wanted to. We'll see what we'll do with them. Kind of feels like we're supporting or like keeping the cave up. I think. Yeah. Yeah, Discord is very strange for some reason with that. I don't really know why, but yeah. It sometimes just likes to hide things. Okay, so we'll place these walls. I kind of hope that's going to be high enough. I think only maybe this side it's not entirely high enough. I mean, technically not there either, but I don't think we'll see much if we add these two in. There we go, that's one wall done. And we'll have another wall going all along that side. That definitely should be plenty high enough. want to just keep going like this, right? And we could do that. Just by doing that. Does that feel more appropriate? Kind of does. And then I kind of wonder if we couldn't just maybe make it more curved back. So maybe something like that. I don't know. So we would have that line going up. Or do we have it slightly less steep? Yeah, exactly. There should be plenty of rhinos there. I think we might go for something like this. We might go for a less high wall, because this wall is kind of a bit too much. Let's see. We'll test it on this wall. See if we like this more. There we go. So something like this, because I think that might just be a little bit nicer. Yeah, I think that's going to be definitely a bit nicer than what we had. Although we can't do this because we don't have triangle ramps in Vanilla ARK, so we're going to have to go for these ones instead. Which instantly is gonna make this a bunch higher again. Oh god. Why, ARK, couldn't you give us triangle ramps? So, yeah, it would kind of be that steepness. Still looks better than the full wall, I think. Okay. So we'll have some of those full walls in there again. I guess maybe after 4, we can just kind of say we'll level it. So that we don't need to go that high. Wait, how did these... I guess those didn't actually line up the way I thought they were gonna line up. But I guess now we don't want them anyway. So these are gonna be just 3 high. Which should make it a little bit less of like a major thing. There we go. We can keep this up all the way. Let's give us ceilings, because we're gonna need those more now. There we go. Yeah, I feel like that's definitely gonna be much nicer. So we'll do that for all of these. So we'll do that. We'll do this. We'll do that. We've got a Rex. Hello there. Welcome in, Vicky. Thank you for becoming a survivor. Really appreciate that. So yeah, we'll go for this shape instead, and then kind of follow it along with what we had. So yeah, we'll need to delete all these walls. we go. Yeah, that doesn't matter. We don't need those there. And we can get rid of all that and then get the shapes in the right places now. Which is kind of just going to be like that. And then you can continue straight into the cave walls. So I think we'll follow that same pattern here too. There we go. And then for all of these sections, we'll just do the same thing. But yeah, I think that's going to be just slightly more interesting and nicer to look at than just giant walls going up all the way. Gives us a little bit more space on the inside, I think. There we go. Well, this one is going to be the easiest because this kind of just goes straight into the cave wall, which is exactly kind of what I envisioned this wall would do. Just ended up being a little bit bigger than I anticipated. Oh. Come on. Why am I stuck? Oh, please. There we go. So yeah, that feels a little bit less massive walls blocking the cave and a little bit more interesting shapes going around it. Which will definitely be nicer to look at, I think. There we go. So yeah, that really blends in very nicely to the existing landscape. And we kind of just want to fill all of these different sections in. There we go. And then we just need to fill in the bits on the top if we can see the top, of course, because that's not going to be the case for all of these. Well, I guess technically we could still see the top. I want to make sure no one falls in there. And then that one we can't see. But yeah, that already feels a little bit more friendly and a lot nicer. Let's see what that looks like once we start changing all these skins into the right variants. Oh yeah, these one we definitely. Oh my! But this is gonna be gardens in there, so probably those aren't even going to be these skins. There we go. Now we'll have a bunch of skins to change, but that will give us a better idea of what this is all gonna look like. We might still want to add some fans and details to these sides at some point. But I expect most of this is going to be dressed up because of the little garden landscapes we're going to make on the inside rather than the actual structures themselves. There we go. That should all be bunkery now. That instantly already changes the mood as well. And then the beams we're gonna actually change to the other skin. Yeah, and definitely I need to start adding some lights in certain spots. So definitely for the next time, because we've been going for a decent amount. So we're definitely not going to be able to finish the whole build. But I'll make sure to hopefully do a little bit of decorating in between for when we continue it next time. Not exactly sure what that will be, because there's a few builds that I still want to do, because we did a poll as well for which of the pre-built structures on Val to build as well. That's going to be that island, so that might help us, because that is, I think, the least amount of building we'll need to do there. But yeah, basically I want to turn that into like a full-on base. See what you would need for that to still make it look nice. But obviously, starting out there would be quite nice and easy, because you pretty much have whole castle built. There we go. Don't forget about the top layers. Okay, then we got one more side over here, which should be a little bit easier to see. Oh yeah, the spotlights as well. Yeah, definitely the tech lights I was planning on using, but yeah, having some of the spotlights might be pretty useful too. And to be honest, we have like the glowing crystals that we could use for decorating around as well. So there's quite a few ways, I think, to get some nice lights in here in different ways that would fit quite well with the build. I guess that's really all. And we'll have these coming across, because as you can see, the large walls start with that little effect drooping down, so that's why we want to have something here dividing these up. And in our case, that's going to be these beams. There we go. Oh yeah, we couldn't do it there. It's weird that we couldn't do a beam there. Might see if I can figure out a way to do it without having a visual pillar that you can see in the frame. Oh, we have some of the skins that we've forgotten here. There we go. So yeah, that is the whole hallway, or the walls at least for the hallway done. Then we'll probably want to have the floor in here again. We might of course play around with the floor, creating pathways, etc. But yeah, the whole thing is that this is going to be like a garden section. Maybe we'll have a little bit of a greenhouse going on here too. Probably not too much, because we can't get effectiveness anyway in here, I think. But yeah, I like some visual nice gardens more for the vibes than for the practicality of it. So let's get these foundations in here. We want to fill some of these in. I think those might not all fit anymore. This seems to at least work the way it's intended. Yeah, and I think we can really do some really nice displays here, and I think we're probably, yeah, we'll either just create some different biomes or specifically different maps, but I think biomes probably works better, because then you could combine certain things. Like you could do a snow biome and then also include the snow creatures from Extinction. You could do a redwood, you could do an aberration area, but then also include like maybe the gachas from like the Sunken Forest. Stuff like that. I guess we'll figure it out when we work on those little garden projects. We'll see what floats our boat. I guess we will need a... One of them will need to be an aquarium at least. Okay, so we have those filled in. Well, I'm not going to skin those floors yet because, again, that will probably be down to the theme for each of the gardens. I'll probably have a beam going around the edge just to kind of... because I don't know if we necessarily want to walk into the gardens, more as have them as displays where you can walk here and look at them. So for now, we'll just choose to have some of those beams around. Okay, then we can start filling in the whole street level of this, which again is still going to be part of the gardens. I kind of want it to be like an underground park, basically, this section, so that I still have some nice greenery, some nice vibes going on here to make me feel like I'm in nature even though I'm under the ground. That's basically the main goal. And then that means that the foundations can end there, because of course I don't really want to necessarily have foundations for the entirety of this build, of this cave. That would be a little bit crazy. So I guess this walkway would go in here. Oh, not that one. We kind of just want to fill in all the gaps to make this entire walkway. Again, this is going to be part of the garden, so I might not skin it the same way as I did for the initial hole. We'll kind of see where we want to make that transition from just the metal path into something a little bit nicer and more gardeny. Probably like at least somewhere around there. This might be a little bit of a square, depending on what kind of entrance to the crafting hole we'll have. Speaking of, we might try and work on that a little bit, or at least kind of mirror the edge that we had on the outside. I think that's probably something we want. The inside is going to be a little bit more simple, of course. I feel like I placed something extra down there. Yeah, there we go. Not something we wanted. And then, to be fair, probably... Wait, how are these windows looking on this side? So yeah, that's from like that straight line going up. So that's kind of what we want here as well. So these lines are the ones that will kind of stick to for our pattern. Which means that on this side, from there, for now, we're going to keep this open because we need to figure out a way to get up there, which is probably going to be in this corner. But for this part, we can at least add or a little bit of detailing. Hello there. There we go. So yeah, we probably just want to kind of repeat that process, because even if we're indoors here, I think we kind of just want to have those windows here as well. Internal windows. There we go. That should line up. There we go. We'll fill in any gaps there might be. And then, of course, the actual window gaps we want to also fill in. There we go. Some nice windows to look into our base, because at least then those are symmetrical, right? Those are going to be the same on both sides. We might add a few more details along, but at least to start with, it's gonna look like this. And I might play around with some of the variants on the walls to add texture and details in places and make it overgrown in certain spots, because I definitely think in certain spots we might want to go for that little bit of extra greenery, especially if we're gonna have like an indoor garden area for part of this. I feel like that's quite appropriate in that case. There we go. So yeah, we're just gonna add in the windows, because as you can already see, that does help with a little bit of that outdoor light falling through the build. It's not much. We'll definitely need to start adding lights soon to make it all a little bit easier on the eyes, because it's getting dark in certain spots. But yeah, you do get some beautiful light rays coming through. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going for this side. I don't think we'll really add too much over here, except for the fact that we might have some fans in certain spots. So what I'll probably do is have walls like this, and then just have normal walls, because if we have normal walls, it's easier to add in a fan or two in certain locations. So we can just kind of make sure that for now they're all concrete, but we will probably at least have one fan there just to make it a little bit cooler. And then this wall we'll leave open for now, because that's going to be part of wherever the entrance is going to be. Then the interior, I'll probably start kind of planning out what I want where, and then we'll work on the design of this crafting storage room next time too. So yeah, I think crafting and storage is going to be up here. We have a bunch of dino parking, of course, along this corridor. We'll have the gardens over here in this corridor. We'll have a way up, as well as maybe something else underneath. We'll see. And then I think the living quarters and the guest quarters and stuff like that might be here in the middle. The Giga and Karcha pen will be down there. And then we'll leave a little bit of the cave just as is, because this ramp I think we're gonna keep as is, so that you can also come up. Yeah, I think that's kind of the plan. Probably not build all of it right here in the middle. We'll see, because we already have quite a decent build growing here. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of space in here. But yeah, especially looking here from the outside inwards, feels like a proper bunker is starting to form. But yeah, we'll need to start adding some light before we continue much, I think. So I'll need to set up power on the inside, stuff like that, which probably will mean that we'll continue most of the building the other time. It is on Ragnarok. It's very close to the Green Orb, as you can see. Green Orb Valley. There's this lovely cave at the end of the river. If you follow it all the way upstream, the waterfall's coming down, you get to this cave right over here, which is pretty damn cool. And we're turning that into a big bunker. And so far, we're definitely getting somewhere. Now, I'm thinking that we might at least want to have this line as a little bit of detail. There we go. I think that would be quite nice to bring in. Break up the top of that wall, and in this case also that divider. Breaking that up a little bit. Adding a line. We definitely want to add in the signs over there, I think. At least on that one side. The other side, there's a rock, so we'll probably do something different. But yeah, I like it. I like it. We're getting definitely close again to that feeling. This hallway for sure feels quite cool. Feels very much as I envisioned it. Of course, there's still much work to do. But yeah, we have also made a bunch of progress. It's going to be a pretty big base. But the good thing is, because it's a cave, you actually save so many structures you would otherwise need to do a build of this style. So yeah, we'll see. We'll probably want to have something similar like this. We kind of want to have some kind of curve going on to kind of support the thing, but maybe we'll go for a slightly different vibe. The curve itself will have to be different, of course, as well. But yeah, so this is going to be the entrance over here. We'll need to figure something out about that. Maybe we can do a little bit of that now. So let's see if we have foundations. We could have like 4 wide building, and then maybe have some foundations there. Bring that back into the landscape. I don't know if some of those rocks might be harvestable. I don't think they will, because otherwise I'd probably have removed them, since I do have foundations here. But we'll see. I think at least for this, I'd want to try and fill it in. And of course, vanilla, you would have to do that with walls and pillars and stuff. But with ASR, we can at least kind of fill in those gaps. Okay. Doesn't feel like we can particularly fit a lot in here, because of the landscape. But really all we need is to get some kind of tower going up that you can use to get into the rest of the bunker. Now, there's a slight issue here with the angles, of course, because in ARK this won't line up naturally. So either I'm gonna have to overlap that, or you'd have to have like stairs going down here, stairs going down there. That's probably what you would do in official. Not sure how much of this would even be possible in official settings anyway. So I don't think we're gonna worry about that too much. But yeah, we kind of want to have some kind of tower up to the top here. I'm probably just going to use televators for us, which is also from Architect Structures Remastered. Basically a elevator that teleports you instead of a normal elevator, because that's going to be too slow. And then if I really want to have big creatures coming in here to drop off goods, I probably have a teleporter somewhere up here. And then maybe one of these loading docks, I'll have a teleporter in. And I could also just have a visual storage crane down here. I mean, for most of this, it should be possible official, but it's just a few parts that you might have to do differently. But you could probably, if you can build in the cave like this. I don't know how much different collision settings are unofficial. That probably will be your main issue. I don't really know the rules. I've never played official. I don't know. But yeah, I can see some kind of cool structure here. probably want to do something different than the main bunker. Yeah, I don't think we have any different rules for caves though on the cluster. I haven't changed any cave building or something like that. So at least it should be buildable, but then maybe maybe the collision will be your biggest problem. Okay, so maybe we could have something like that. There we go. So probably the staircase would be over there. But in this case, I'm gonna have to do the floors here first. Because I kind of, at least for this part, want to still keep up these floors. Okay, so then... that wouldn't really look nice. I was trying to see if I could maybe make a little bit of a nicer entrance here, but I don't think we can. So I'll probably just like that. There we go. Okay, so we kind of have this slope going on, so I feel like whatever entrance we make is going to be kind of related to that shape. And maybe we'll have like a gateway here. But probably we want to have a metal gate in there, because otherwise the techie I don't think is gonna fit the vibe quite as much for this. So yeah, if we get these... There we go. Yeah, we'll definitely have to change the variants on some of these foundations, because we can see the little wooden line, which we don't want. But yeah, that's going to be a nice entrance. That's probably not... Or do I just want to do this over the entirety of the build? I might. So yeah, then this would be the spot where this wall would be, because that would be the equal distance for those, which I think would be quite nice. There we go. Again, I quite like this little side building that we're creating, which is basically just so that we can get up to the main crafting hall, which would be quite nice if I can finish at least that, because then I would have the actual way in and out of my future crafting and storage hall, which we could then start working on a little bit as well. Can I fill in those little gaps, or won't it let me? Won't let me. It's fine. There we go. Okay, change this all. to the bunker or the concrete look. Because probably up there we do want to have some of the wood to make it a little bit warmer and more cozy. But yeah. Yeah, the quarters. I'll probably go and fix all those gaps, or try to fix all those gaps once we have the main structure a bit more done, because we have quite a few of those gaps. So we'll see if we can figure out some kind of way to fix it. But for now, let's at least get a little bit of the shape going. How wide was that? That was a little wider, right? Okay, so the real question is... No, yeah, I do want to basically start with a layer of normal walls, because that way that will line up with this. So I think now if we do it over here, yes, and then we want to have a gap of 4 before we connect those up. Then the top layer is here. We can do it like that for now. There we go. What do I want here at the back? Probably kind of just mirror the front-ish, I think. Hello, please, ARK. Thank you. Yeah, so we'll have those going across. We can have that going all the way from one side to the other. Then I think here for the interior, we probably kind of want to go for something like this. Actually, what I really need to know, because I don't quite remember what variants... Okay, there's a no glass variant for that. That is kind of annoying, but we can probably get around that. We can probably get around that. Okay, so we'll kind of just fill all that in, I think. So here on the inside, we're going to have a little bit of a double wall. I mean, I suppose that means over there we can have the full wall again. Yeah, there we go. And that means we can do the same over there. Then we can start creating that shape. And then for these, we actually want to change up the snap points a little bit. What we want is some quarters. There we go. And then we also want to make sure that we have those walls filled in. Okay, for now, I'm just going to place those walls. Then we want to have these quarter roofs, which we should then be able to place on both sides of those walls. We actually want to make sure that these walls go up all the way. And that's how we're going to create a little bit of depth for the windows, basically. So we'll fill in all these sections with these quarter roofs. Of course, if you do have overlapping, you can probably just have a normal roof there. But this is official friendly, I suppose. Should be, right? Because they're not going through the structures. they're just squished in between it. And then now I could make this a window. So we should be able to change the variants, and if we change them all to the right ones, they should be one nice big window, hopefully. But yeah, there's a lot of variants in the bunker skin, so that is a little bit of work. And then you always have to check the next time you log in if you actually changed all the variants the proper way, because sometimes, especially with the gun, you're going a little too fast or it doesn't quite register what you've done. You have to redo it all. We're almost there. And then we're going to see the result of this. There we go. So we'll have a nice big window there. And we can change all this to the bunkers again. Awesome. And then of course the inside, we can also change the skins, and then it should be a very cool, smooth experience here for these windows. Quite cool, because now it's right in the middle, which adds, of course, a lot of depth that way. So we'll do the beam here along this side. There we go. We also need to make sure that we will fill in this wall. There we go. Awesome. So yeah, I think that looks quite nice. And we're almost at the big window. There we are. So unfortunately, there's no triangle pieces for those yet. Which would be really nice, would be really welcome. I might ask if they could add them. Could be quite nice to have, because then this would be a lot easier to create. But to be fair, part of the reason we're building it like this is also just so that we get the cooler shapes in there, I think. I guess I kind of still need some walls there because we kind of see a little bit of an edge there. Did it get foggy in there, or is that just if I go too high in the cave it gets more foggy? I mean, yeah, we desperately need power in here so I can have some lights. There we go. We can have a nice little window up there. That feels quite good. I probably would add a pillar there. Yeah, that feels quite nice. And I'm not entirely sure what to add here. It could be an entrance for flyers. Could be nice. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh god. Why does that... Oh, I hate when that happens. Really, really hate. And the entire pillar comes down because you remove something. Okay. Could we have a potential entrance for flies if we want to fly in and out of our storage? Not sure how practical it would be. But maybe we can at least provide the option for us to do it. There we go. So that would be this wide. That's way too big. I mean, that kind of works. I guess it's a little smaller than the hole size I expected. And there's actually... It's going a little bit into the cave. But, you know... It does give us an option to fly in and out if we wanted to. Which could be quite nice. And then I guess we just fill up those remaining pieces. Actually, I might want to fill this in with normal walls as well, because again, that might mean a vent. Hello there, thank you very much. Okay, let's fix these pillars again. There we go, very nice. We can change those. There we go. Yeah, so we do have the option now to fly in and out, which I think could be quite good. What I probably would do then, because I want these doors to look a little bit more like they're metal. This is also from ASR, by the way. Just makes it a little bit easier to paint because I don't need to actually make the paint myself. So yeah, that will make it look like metal a bit more. But yeah, that should be a nice entrance to it. So we have this corner now. Oh, that looks quite cool, doesn't it? I'm definitely going to play around with the variants and stuff to potentially get cooler things. But yeah, also like that window a lot. We can teleport up into what is going to be the crafting and storage hall. But we also now have the option to fly in and out should we want to, which I definitely feel like that's going to be a welcome addition. And then we'll, of course, change all these variants just in case. And yeah, there we go. So I just need to, of course, change all of these ceilings, but I won't bore you to do that in this stream because that's a lot of repetitive, non-thinking action. Same for this floor, but this is also going to be gardens, so I probably will decorate the gardens if I have time between streams. And I'll try to start thinking of the layout for the crafting hall, because I don't want to just wing that. Probably we're going to have a few supportive beams. We might be able to lay those out. But other than that, we've made quite a bit of progress. Like, honestly, this main hall, I love this. This is exactly what I wanted. I really like that from the last design we did on the Jurassic event. Of course, it needs a lot of detailing and lights and stuff and things to bring it to life. But yeah, already this feels quite cool. Quite cool indeed. Flies on the right, normal tames on the left. Then this entrance to get into the crafting and storage. Gardens along this way. And then there's a whole lot of cave left still. But we're definitely getting there. Okay, I do kind of want to take an early look at what this whole hall could be. So realistically, let's see, where are some of these dividing lines? Because what we maybe could do, for example, if we want to maybe stick to these, that could be helpful. I mean, you won't really know where these are, of course. But yeah, might be nice to line them out with that. Not have dirt on these large walls. You do have a few variants, right? But I guess, yeah, they're all slightly dirty, I suppose. Yeah, and I guess unofficial, you can't just be like, well, I'll use normal walls then, because that might make you hit the limit quicker. Yeah. Alright, so for some of these side walls, I feel like, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that might be what we're going for. So that's that one line. So this again should be 4 in between all of these. There we go. And I think then for these last ones here, that's going to be 3 because of the way we changed it from the outside. Or actually, we could keep it like that and just have different supports around the front, maybe. Maybe that's what we'll do. But yeah, we'll need to think of some kind of shape that we can basically uphold through all of this. So I think it's probably going to start off like that. And then maybe go into something like this. Not entirely sure. Like, of course, in some parts, the cave will win from the design because it's just not going to fit. Yeah, I think for now, we'll probably say no to doing it at the end of the line. We're probably going to do something different for those walls, but we can at least bring those in place. So we'll have those. That's not going to really work. It might work on this one, though. This one here at the front might be the one that we go for design-wise. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That's way too steep all of a sudden. But maybe we could do like quarters. I mean, and then realistically, we would probably just bring it up. Can't even do that there. I think that's probably what we want to go for. Yeah, there we go. So we can kind of fill in part of that. I think that's what we want. Because again, that's kind of going to give us some sections to work with. And I feel like even for the storage room, that's just going to be a nicer way to work rather than just having a big open space. Because realistically, as soon as we have these dividing lines in place, I can just kind of decorate this storage hall whatever way I see fit. But then at least it looks like it's being nicely supported and everything. Oh god, some of it's going to be obstructed. I guess we'll just kind of go with the flow in those cases. We'll see if I can figure out some kind of way to still make those pieces work in some way. But at least this side is looking quite nice, especially once we of course turn that into the bunker skin. And then we'll have quite a nice hallway, I think, if we keep this all going. Crafting and storage. Of course, yeah, we can't really do much on that side, but that's totally fine. On this side, where the walls or the cave is a little bit higher, it does add a lot to the build. Okay, so that means we'll have a few different sections just as below, but then with different shapes. More shallow shapes, which are quite nice, I think, to work with. Obviously for this side it's going to be a little bit easier because there's not that much visible from all of this, which is totally fine. There we go. Actually, let's just finish this whole site first, because again, it's not that much work. There we go. Yeah, that fits for me. Then I guess it's time to work on this side. So probably we'll start with filling in these walls again. And create a bunch of the main structure for this. There we go. And we'll just kind of fill in, oops, the walls as we go. Just like that. Yeah, that's a nice bit of support, which gives this room the structure it needs, I think, and the kind of the division to hopefully create something quite organized and sorted, which is definitely what I'm gonna try and do for this base, but it's me. You never know. How did I even place that wall there? Probably from all the extra little snap points I've created with these different structures. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That's starting to look quite nice. So then we'll have this shape, which of course is also kind of going to help us welcome into the room, because this is the first one we'll see. And then, yes, we will fill in the little gaps wherever they are. Oh, there we go. We can still actually fit them in. And we'll just build up wherever we can. Fill in the remaining gaps. And there we go. That's the shapes in place, at least. I guess we could think about adding some kind of supports in the middle. Like, I could see something like this maybe still being wanted for a little bit more structure. Just to kind of see if that works, but it might still add a little bit. Okay, well then we can definitely now close up the floors again, because yeah, we don't need to see those sides underneath. The real question, of course, is whether we'd want at least maybe part of this to be these skins. And maybe we do. Maybe like the middle three. We actually want to get this kind of look so that we have a bit more of the walkway feeling. And it kind of connects these two parts back to each other, maybe. And then, of course, those ones definitely need to be that kind of structure. And then even maybe these ones to kind of make those supports feel a bit stronger. There we go, but I kind of like that maybe. Let's see. Once we're up here. Yeah, I don't hate that. And then we can kind of figure out a design for those middle parts here. we go. Because we can probably figure out something for these different beams. First question is, if I had a secret door, could you do that? That's quite nice, because then potentially we have 3 of these. That means we could have a generator inside there. We could still access it. But yeah, we could have it in one of these support pillars, basically. There we go. Yeah, I think that's definitely a good option. Not that we need the support or anything, but it's just also more as some kind of room divider again. To break up the middle to be too open. So yeah, I think I quite like that. Having these kind of dividers. And I mean, they do look also like support pillars, of course. Which can't hurt. There we go. Can have all of this skinned in these construction variants. Yeah. And then, well, for the rest, at the very least, these need to be the concrete ones. But then I think also these ones, we'd want to do the same. The rest is kind of up for debate. We could probably change some of that to be the wooden texture. But I guess we'll see that as we go. For now, I think... Well, we'll need to change all these variants anyway to get this to work. So for now, let's do that. Change all of these different sections. Although it is quite dark. Let's actually see. This will give you a little bit of a sneak peek of one of my future builds that's coming out. I'm not gonna give you a closer look. I might have... Oh, that's a bunch of chibis. The gun is the variant tool, and it's really helpful to quickly switch materials. I really thought I might have a spare tech generator in here, because I don't really want to just cheat in all those things. Got some spare element. I really thought, well, apparently I did not bring that. I really did think I prepared that. Did I leave it in a smithy? Nope. There's not much other spots I could leave it in, could I? Fabby? Nope. Yeah, maybe I did not bring it. Did not bring it over yet. Well, I guess we'll live in the dark for a little bit longer. At least we have the natural light coming in through the windows a little bit. Alright. So for now, I guess we are... I just said that I wasn't going to do this. Okay, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to do this at the front and the back, so that we can focus on maybe making those walls nice and detailed, because right now this is of course still a big flat wall. And we made it quite nice on the outside, but we also want to make sure that it is quite nice here on the inside. So here on the inside, what could we do to add to this? Oh yeah, then I could also use the skins for light, that's fair. Do I want to have that support there? I think I do. And then we'll do the same thing for this wall. Where does it start? Just above the windows. Oh yeah, that's not much visible on this side. But every little bit counts. I don't think that's gonna snap the right way for me though. So we have those supports, and then the real supports we need, of course, is here off to these sides. I think probably we kind of just want to potentially do something like that, which means we can have big walls going up there. And then we can have 2 walls coming up from here before they stick out like that. Oh man, I hate when that happens. There we go. I feel like that gives a little bit more structure to that entire wall, which means that we'll get these walls over here. Have those right in the middle, and then have these stick out at the front. And then bring them up to the top of the cave. And I guess that's a little bit higher in some cases than in others. Okay. We can change those skins. Same over here. Yeah, we're gonna definitely have to do all these support walls that we've just built. Oh, I'm missing one there. Awesome. So yeah, that's the back and the front walls done. Did I do this one in the middle here too? No, forgot about that. There we go. And that means we can also fill in these walls, right? I probably also could have used some tall walls there. And then we can kind of just fill in this entirety of the structure. I actually feel like I might want to flip those around texture-wise. For these parts, that makes more sense because they match better with the ramps that way. Awesome. All right. We will continue changing all of these skins. Yeah, there we go. That feels like the proper bunker look right away. will give a lot more shape to this entire room. Why is it not doing it? There we go. There we go. Yeah, that's shaping up this room quite nicely. My hopes and dreams are coming true for this awesome cave bunker base. Can continue filling in the rest of these skins. Awesome. I mean, I feel like this has gotten much further than I would have thought, but yeah, we've pretty much done the storage and crafting now as well. Like I can start basically placing down all the structures and actually moving in my storage room now. This is quite nice. I'm very happy with the way this looks. Got a bit of natural light coming in. We have a decent room with some of these bays. This will be nice to place some of the bigger structures like the industrial forges in these side pods and stuff like that. Yeah, that's going to be quite nice. I think the last section we need to do is this part here where we have the entrance, because I do think we kind of need to separate this room a little bit from the main hall, because we have this now. But potentially we also need something over here, but what exactly? So maybe over there? There we go. So this is... that's going to be the middle. So maybe... we do have an arch there. We could even have the gate in there, but probably just keep that opened. And then we'll have some walls to fill that all up. Hello there, we hear a raptor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the super chat, for the support. Everybody happy birthday wishes. Really appreciate that. There we go. All right, so for this entrance, yeah, I do feel like that this dividing wall is necessary, because otherwise it feels kind of weird that this corner is bigger. But now we come up here, we could have like a little entrance room, and then we go in here, and I probably can still fly through that with a flyer, which of course was one of the aims, but now feels a little bit more logical in my mind. You get in here, you get into the storage room. Oh, I quite like the way this turned out now. Really like that. Obviously, we're missing a lot of the details, like the decorations inside, which is going to help to transform it to the next level. But for just the bare structure, and for the amount of the bare structure we've managed to do today, I think this has really gotten along quite nicely. So let's do one last tour of the entire place, the entire build, what we managed to do today. So if you're just jumping in now and you want to know where we are, what we're doing, we're on Ragnarok. It's actually on my community server, so if you wanted to, you could come and visit this place. If you want information on how to join my community cluster, it's totally free. You need to join my Discord for all the information. We're on Ragnarok. We've got the green up there. We are located right over here on the map. And yeah, we have the bunker over here. So this is the main entrance here, which is looking very, very cool. We've got the windows up there, the nice shape. And then especially once you go into this hallway, it feels like a proper bunker. We have plenty of Dino parking bays along the sides. We have flyer bays up there as well that I can park my flyers in, which is going to be really, really cool. And then we get to this part. Now this is going to be the garden section. So I'm going to make some gardens. I'm going to make like taxidermy displays in here, create little scenes, go all out with the cozy decoration vibes, and try to create some nice greenery gardens, probably different biomes from different maps, to really get a bunch of cool little scenes created in here. And we also have this building, which is the entrance to our crafting hall and storage hall, which is right up here. This is the entry hall. We also have a little hangar door along the side, so we can fly in and out as well. So if we want to bring in on Ryanetha or something, we could fly in and out. And then we have the main storage and crafting right up here. Obviously, I still need to go and decorate that, but I'm quite happy with the way it's looking so far. And we can still look down below, which I actually quite like that feature. Yeah, quite like that. Makes it feel a little bit more connected, and probably also good for the light, to be honest. So yeah, quite happy with the progress from today's stream. Birthday very productively spent today, this year, to make the start for a brand new base. So there's some more future plans. We can take a look at the list I had. Flyer parking, that's done. The Rhino parking spots, that's also kind of done. That's that wall. So maybe we can tick off what we've done. The Dino parking base, that's done. The water pen is not done at all. That's going to be in the front at the waterfall. The Gigas Carchas and the Big L's Pino, that's all going to be down here. So that's not done yet. Storage and crafting, that's pretty much done, except for actually doing the decorations inside, of course. Private quarters and guest quarters, that's not done yet. The vault, which is going to be probably a template vault, if I can fit it in here somewhere. And then the garden. The garden is there. It's not done. I wouldn't call that done yet. So if we update this list, we can remove the flyer parking, Rhino parking, the Dino base, the storage and crafting can go. So that list has already gotten a little bit shorter. We've got quite a few things covered already, which is great. I can start moving things in. I can start decorating things. It's going to be very exciting, and I'm very happy with the result of what we've created so far. Definitely liking this place a lot. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I hope you enjoyed being along for the ride, because initially I was just gonna do this in survival, like for myself, and just enjoy it and just do it a little bit. But then I was like, but then I will want to show it off eventually, and people will ask, how do I build it? Obviously, this is much too dependent on the location and the actual like just randomness of the cave to be a tutorial, because it only works in this build. But at least now you can follow along with the streams. You can see the thought process about like what decisions I make, and if you're not gonna try and build this exactly in the same spot, at least you'll be able to take away some of the ideas, design language, stuff like that. But yeah, as I said, there's definitely going to be more coming. We're going to add more life to the place and more builds to the place and all that sort of thing. So it's definitely going to be even cooler in the end. Next stream, I don't know exactly when that will be, but there is a few streams planned that I still want to do in the next 2-3 weeks before I go on a little 4-day trip. But one of those streams is going to be next weekend. Is going to be the extra live stream that I'm doing, which is also going to be a really fun new build project. We're going to do something what we've done before, but then we're going to do it again, because now it's already 2 years of ARK, believe it or not. I believe it was exactly 2 years ago when they released the trailer for Ascended. They were supposed to release it Ascended. Of course, that got delayed by a few hours, because that's how things goes. But it's 2 years of ARK Ascended. Can you believe it? It's quite insane. But yeah, happy birthday. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for your contributions to the best of ARK. There we go. Thank you very much for the kind words and for all the happy birthday wishes today. If you're just tuning in or you didn't hear it last time I mentioned it, I'm doing some giveaways as well. Since it's my birthday, I'm giving away some presents to you guys as well. So if you want to have a chance to win the Tribal Skin Pack, the Tribal Warrior Saddles cosmetic, or the Tribal Utilities Saddles cosmetic, as well as the brand new Quantum Astral custom cosmetic, head over to my Discord. In the announcement channel, there's giveaways for all 4 of those cosmetics that I'm giving away free code, so you can, you know, have some cool cosmetics to spice up your adventures, give cooler saddles to some of your tames. We actually have one of the saddles here. This is the Warrior Saddle Pack. This is the Karcha. And then the Astral cosmetic is really cool for some space theme building. Very nice and clean cosmetic that I've been trying out. I've got a video about that coming out very soon. So yeah, exciting stuff. Some free skins to win, always nice. And until that time, I'm gonna just enjoy my bunker base and maybe slowly start decorating it, bringing it to life, and etc, etc. Many cool things to come from here, but for now I'm just very happy to be able to share that adventure and that process with you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I'm gonna celebrate the remaining few minutes of my birthday here, and then I hopefully will see you in the next video or the next stream. Thank you so much for joining, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Good